Okay, so we're going to be switching gears a little bit. And now that we've kind of talked about taxonomy and the study of living things, we're going to be talking about something a little bit more specific to living things, and that is ecosystems. So, we're going to take a look at chapter 5 in our textbook, and it's called Understanding Ecosystems. I'm going to do my best to show this in the screen, but I might have to move it here and there. So we're in lesson 1, we're going to talk about what are the parts of an ecosystem. In lesson 2, we're going to talk about the factors that influence ecosystems. And in lesson 3, we're going to talk about how do humans affect ecosystems. Okay, so here is a picture of an osprey catching a fish. And it says, "What do you wonder? Catching dinner? This osprey has very sharp claws called talons. The osprey's talons help it catch fish. What impact does the osprey have on the fish of the on the fish population? How does this relate to the big idea?" So the big idea is over here. It says that ecosystems are made up of both living and non-living parts that all impact one another. So when we think about how the osprey affects the fish population, um, if there's more osprey, they're going to be catching more fish, and that's going to lessen the amount of the fish in the fish population. If there's not a lot of osprey in the area, maybe there's going to be more fish because they're not being hunted as much. So you can kind of see how the numbers of one animal kind of affect the numbers of another in that same ecosystem. So to start lesson 1, um, we're going to read and learn how living things group together to make different ecosystems. It says to investigate how plants grow together in an ecosystem. We're not going to get into that just yet. That would be kind of like an experiment we would do in class. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So, a fast fact over here in the yellow, it says that silver kings, the tarpon is in this photograph, um, the tarpon in this photograph are not yet full grown. These fish don't become adults until they are between 7 and 13 years old, when they can weigh more than 91 kilograms or 200 pounds. Tarpon live in salt water, but they can survive in a variety of ecosystems. In the investigate, you will observe how sunlight affects plants in another ecosystem. So again, we're going to skip that for now. So we have our vocabulary preview. So your assignment for today is going to be just about the introduction to this lesson and our vocabulary. So we have 4 main vocabulary words for this lesson. It is environment, all living and non-living things that affect an organism. So that's the environment. The ecosystem is a community and its physical environment together. Population, all the individuals of the same kind living in the same environment. And community, all the populations of organisms living together in an environment. So these are the 4 big vocabulary words that we're going to talk about throughout lesson 1 of chapter 5. So lesson 1's essential question is, what are the parts of the ecosystem of an ecosystem? So as we get through the lesson, we're going to learn a little bit more about the different parts of the ecosystem. So when we get into lesson 1, I have each of these pages pulled up. I took pictures of them to post onto Google Classroom so we can go through them together, okay? So we're going to learn about ecosystems. We're going to learn about individuals and populations. We're going to learn about communities, and then we'll have some questions at the end. So for right now, you're going to work on your assignment to talk about your vocabulary questions. You're going to answer the question, you're going to make an educated guess about what you think the parts of an ecosystem are. Okay. And we're just going to recap a little bit about the introduction to this assignment.